So after 2 months into my YouTube journey, here's the brutal truth behind what's going on. So if your channel's honeymoon phase has just ended, that's just the way it goes, all right? The brutal truth is that there are things that happen on this journey that we wouldn't expect, aren't usually covered by anyone else. It's because there's nuances involved in everyone's journey, right? For those nuances that have impacted me, I'm going to share them right here, right now. So, hi, my name's Carl, and for those of you who don't know me or haven't been here before, welcome. And those who have are returning, welcome again. I help the anxious find their mental clarity, which in turn helps them to gain creative confidence, something I'm doing myself. And so I practice what I'm preaching, although I'm not a priest. All right, what I'm saying, what I'm suggesting. I definitely do my best to abide by what I suggest. And so without further ado, we're going to look at some of the suggestions that I can come up with to combat some things that have gone wrong in my month too. I will be referring to notes, all right, so just so you know, because I've got some stats here, and I'll probably share those on the screen with you also. Okay, so just looking at a few things that are going on here. Okay, so this is only my second month in, by the way, all right? So 3rd of June was my official first video. And so I'm just going to even months. So, you know, end of June, first month, end of July, which we're coming to now, is the end of this month. In fact, what are we now? We're July 29th, Tuesday. So it's the end of the month. And I will do these every month just to document my own progress for my own recollection. But I think it's important to share insights as I'm going to for those that are currently sitting on the fence or are even on this journey with me. And because everyone's journey is going to be considerably different. There's a lot of nuances in there, which means that what works for me or what I'm finding for me or what even happens to me could be something you haven't yet experienced, even if you're a year in your journey yet. So there's benefits to these sorts of videos, I personally feel. And so hopefully you get some takeaways from this. But the one big thing to take away from this is the fact that my second month progressed worse than my first month. And some of this I know why. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the numbers first. Okay, so for June, I had posted 14 videos, right? For July, I've posted 12. So 2 less. And there's a reason for that. I'll drop into that in a bit. My views were actually more this month than last month, even with fewer videos. So 421 views for my first month, 462 views for my second month. I understand these stats are very underwhelming compared to a lot of other channels, and by no means do I think that this is a beat my chest type of video or moment, all right? So I'm very transparent about what's going on here and just being completely honest, okay? So just bear with me here. So my total views so far are sitting at 883, okay, on my second month. Watch time is less for this month than it was for last month. So something going on there with my CTR, and we'll touch on that in a minute. Not my CTR, my AVD, my average view duration. So watch time last month was 16.4 hours. This month it's 14.9 hours, okay? Which brings my watch total to 31 hours. Considerable distance from the 4,000 watch hours required for monetization, right? So that's why I'm not even thinking about that. Amazingly though, with those numbers being not great, my subs has actually been better this month, and it's grown by another 14 subs. So in June I grew 9 subs, and before that I'd actually set my account up previously and done nothing with it. I don't know how, but I actually had subs. I started off my channel with 7 subs, and I think it's because I share a name with someone famous. There's a famous electronica techno musician slash music producer who's Carl Craig. Exact same spelling, and I think that is probably why I had those subs, and I did nothing to earn those. but they have sort of dropped off. I have lost some, which is probably out of that 7, and I realise I'm not that famous person. But all up, my subs are now sitting on 30 at the recording of this video. My click-through rate actually improved from 1.2 to 2%. Still very low, still a lot to learn, but it's to be expected for some of us on this journey. And my average view duration, though, dropped. So I had a 2.2 2.2 minute average view duration down to 1.55 minutes. So, and my impressions came down, obviously, because I've got 2 fewer videos. My impressions were 18.4 thousand, and they were for last month, and this month they were 15.8. So my best video, just a comparison, I take note of my best videos per month. My best video, which was the Why People Over 40 Must Start a YouTube Channel for June, had 57 views, watch time of 2.9 hours, click-through rate of 1.6, so not very good, but an average view duration of 3. That's not too bad for me. And then for this month, my best performing video was the big YouTube monetization reset. That one got 44 views, so fewer views. Watch time was 2.1, not bad considering it was fewer views. Click-through rate was 3.1, so it's almost double what it was on my best video the month prior. Average view duration 2.52. So yeah, so in some areas it's performing worse than it was last month. You know, I don't know if I had any preconceived ideas, but when we're going to review these stats, I would have thought it would be a bit more of an even trajectory, maybe, as far as improvement goes, but it's not. It's very much like a wave. Some things improve, some things don't. Now, I want to drill into why I think this has happened, okay? Now, during this month, I got very sick, okay? And thankfully, I had a bank of videos before I got at my worst, but I did record 3 or so videos, I think it was, when I wasn't doing too good. I already was a bit sick, and I think that came through in those videos as far as a lack of energy. Probably, you know, it's a bit nasally, unclear, and those videos didn't perform very well. So I think maybe that had something to do with it for those 3 videos. It definitely had something to do with my fewer videos produced this month, because I've just been sick, and I have been really sick. I got the flu, I got COVID, and then they caused me to get a chest infection. And so, yeah, it's I had it all happening. And I think that had a large part to play with my month of July dropping off, unfortunately. So that's one. Another thing that I think may have impacted it was a channel redirection. Not a complete pivot is a word that I hear some YouTubers use, but for me it was, I just wanted to ingrain the fact that I'm here to help those that have anxious moments. You know, they suffer from mental roadblocks, so they don't have that clarity. And it can be anything from being, maybe they're clinically diagnosed with anxiety or social anxiety, or they're just anxious in the moment for whatever reason it is. I'm all of those personally, and I've had to battle that my whole life. And there's a lot of real life tools and scenarios that I've gone through that I will share in my time here on YouTube. But not only that, I will morph, especially the tools, to work here. And I'm already experiencing what those tools are that work. I'll bring them here to YouTube for you as a new approach, all right? Because I've gone through that. I've had to learn how to get that confidence in regards to public speaking. In my profession as a health, safety, and environmental specialist, I've had to give seminars. I've had to give presentations to boards, directors. I've had to give, training presentations, toolbox talks, you name it. There's a whole wide range. And it's predominantly the areas where I'm situated in front of complete strangers have been the hardest things to get over. Amazingly, though, I'm not the only one. And so I've had a lot of people either as direct reports during my career or even colleagues or just members of my workforce, where I've actually helped them overcome some of those same situations using my own, I guess, methodologies that I've, put together over the years. Like anyone else that suffers from anxiety and has been through therapy, they will understand that there's a lot of different methods out there. Some work, some don't, and some work extremely well. And it's usually a matter of taking bits and pieces from each of those and applying what works for you. That's me. And I'm going to be providing, just getting a bit off track here, sorry, but I will be providing that methodology in a video, and I will be promoting that ongoing, because I feel that there's real value in that. If not from the methods that I use, it'll be the fact that there's hope for everybody, regardless of what your blockage is mentally, stopping you from, stepping forward into your creative dream and pursuing that dream. It gives you a vote of confidence that you can find your own way, all right? Even if every other way that you've heard of and you've tried so far doesn't quite work for you, start taking the elements out of that you do think work for you. Even if they only partially work, at least take note of them, keep them to the side, and come back to them combined with other areas of your life that start to work well. Anyway, getting off track there, apologies for that. But that was my redirection, as in refining it even further. So that's what I do. I'm here to help anxious people find their mental clarity, which then they gain that creative confidence, all right? And predominantly it is going to be for those that are going to be content creators, because that's my pursuit as a creative, but it'll work with no matter what you want to do. If you're a musician that needs that confidence to play in front of people, if you're an artist that needs that confidence to display your pieces, if you're a poet and or author and you want that confidence to publish your items, or even turn that into a YouTube presentation and turn your written work into a spoken word, which I think would be a cool idea. There's a wide range of how you can, pursue your creative outlet. And I'm a firm believer 100% that everyone should have a creative outlet. It's innately part of who we are as a human being. And we've lost sight of that. As children, we have imaginations that run wild left, right, and center, right? There is no boundary there. But then as we become adults, that gets stored away, it gets buried deep in our minds and forgotten about. I'm here to revive that. And for those that have trouble reviving that, finding that, and bringing it to others, you're in the right place. We'll make it work, okay? Anyway, back into it. I don't think this, I hope it hasn't driven people away. I have implemented some offerings, as in paid services, because I actually run a business in the health, safety, and environmental space, as well as being employed as that specialist. I have a consulting business also in that space. So I know what that takes to run a business and to do that sort of thing. I want to bring that level of experience to YouTube and offer that to people that specifically want that, all right? I'm not going to put any of my videos or material behind paywalls, so everything's always going to be available in video form. But the trouble is, even if I had 1,000 videos, there's knowledge that potentially I've not shared, and yet there's someone that needs help with something specific. So I can then do that specifically for them. Or potentially they want to be held accountable. They want, someone to help guide them specifically, work one-on-one with someone that's already, done that, not necessarily on YouTube, but I have gained that confidence in real life. I can help them and help them set up their YouTube channel or gain that direction for their creative pursuit. So that is something I did change, but I'd like to think that doesn't put a hindrance on why my channel or how my channel operates, okay? And I'm going to cover that in more detail in another video. I'm not going to go into my offerings here. This is potentially something that is causing some issue, and it is, I play tested with the settings probably, when was it? After the first week, so probably about 10 days into this month. I changed my settings on my videos that I upload to basically present as being from the US. And why have I done that? And it's not to be, I'm not, you could say it's imposter syndrome or impersonating someone I'm not. It's not actually about that. It's because my material is universal. Unlike my side business and my profession that I do here, it's localized to where I am in Australia, right? That's what I do. But this, being able to reach and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people potentially, to help them on finding their creative path, the best thing I could find was to try and tap into a larger audience, because to start off with anyway. And the US being the bigger of probably that, in the UK would have been my natural sort of selections, being from Australia, that I would target. So I'd intentionally put little comments, keywords in regards to, the US, just a few drop things in there, change things so that the location of the video is US, language used is English, USA or American, and there's a few other things in there. So I did a bit of research on that. It was a bit mixed. So, some people said it made a difference. Some people said it doesn't matter, no matter where you are in the world. No one really said it would hinder your channel. So I thought, well, I'll go with it. I'll make the changes. It's not going to do me any worse. But possibly it has. I'll have to monitor how this next month goes. Hopefully I don't get sick. I shouldn't do. It's very rare that I get crook. I haven't been crook like that. Ever, really. So those are the things that I believe could have contributed to the drop off this month. All right. It's not a given, but it's not a perfect science to come to that conclusion. But I wanted to look at options as to why that might have occurred. So my learnings are the fact that, being sick, or even having other things that come up that stop you from recording can impact your creative progress. I'm a firm believer that has had the most negative effect this month. But in saying that, it's still better to release something than nothing, right? So I did 3 videos before I got really sick, where I wasn't great and my videos were poor as a result. But to keep that consistency up, I think it's more important than just not having anything. So if it's possible to get something out there, do it. And not that I utilize this, but in hindsight, and I didn't note it here, if you can't get videos out as consistently as you normally would, use the community posts function, so that you're posting to your community to give them a heads up as to why things aren't happening. You might be a natural disaster happening in your area at the time, personal issues, whatever's going on. You don't have to go into detail, but at least let your viewer base know. Okay, your community posts are also discoverable, so don't think that posting in there, it's only going to alert those that are subscribers. All right, anyone can see that. Did do some other positive. I made some other positive changes this month. Chipping away and doing the improvements. So I include links now to my YouTube channel, which acts as a sub-link. So there's a way, and if you just Google this or even type it into YouTube itself, you'll find a way of adding a little bit of extra text to the end of your YouTube channel website link. Adding that extra text and providing that as an entire link, what that does is that if someone clicks on that link, it brings up an automatic subscription box when they go to see your channel. So it's an extra little prompt. So I include that now in my my channel links, as well as my in my video descriptions. I've also got that. So I've got links to subscribe, links to a playlist. I think it's quite important to include, so that if they click on that, it'll take them to a playlist of yours. And I've got a free guide as well that I include in those links. I've set up playlists. I didn't have playlists last month, so now I have playlists for my material. I've uniformed my video descriptions. All right, so they were really hit and miss. Some were good, some weren't. So I've now got a default line of text and a layout for my video descriptions moving forward. Remembering to introduce myself, which I did on this video, and to include a call of action at the end of videos. Okay, so trying to improve there for month 2. What month 3? We'll see. What am I going to change in month 3? Okay, so I've actually just started. So one of the videos that actually was captured for July was my very first podcast video. So I've created a podcast playlist called Real Creator Beyond the Wheel, because that's going to be me when I'm commuting to or from work. I'll capture some video or podcast recordings in that sort of scene, and it's more of a discussion type format where I know the topic. I've loosely sort of formulated in my mind what questions could be if I was talking to you directly, what questions you may ask me. And so it's more of a discussion piece, all right, just flying off the cuff. Clearly I'm driving, so my focus is 100% on the road, not on the lens of the camera, which is again why I've made it more of a podcast, because you'll have to give me a little bit of grace for the fact that I don't tend to look at the camera because I'm looking on the road. But that is something that's going to be cool for me anyway, to try out for the 3rd month. No scripting, I'm moving away. I know I'm using notes at the moment, but this is probably about it. See, they're bullet point type structure, and there's probably a few more bullet points in this particular one than there will be most videos moving forward, just because there were stats and stuff in there that I wanted to acknowledge and read through. And but no long scripts. I want to move away from that completely. Feels more authentic to me if I can just speak, all right? And that's what I want to get better at. It's not a matter of just speaking and speaking endlessly. There's a whole art to speaking without a script, right? That allows you to use pauses in the correct way. It probably wasn't the correct way, but I just want to emphasize the word pause, something different. And taking those out, so there's less ums, ahs. Yeah. It's a thing we've got to learn, right? So that's what I'm going to make an effort to learn. As part of my call to action, offer the like and subscribe. Smash that like button and hit subscribe. It helps the channel out. I haven't been doing that, and I think that might help with a little bit of prompting to those that at least do watch this far to this point and they like the video and they go, oh yeah, I'll give them a like and subscribe, why not? It helps me out. So it's just that little bit of extra emphasis that I'm going to put into my videos. Another thing I might try is to put music through my entire videos. Not necessarily ones like this, which are recording my journey, or definitely won't be my behind the wheel ones, because it's more of a podcast. Oh, maybe I could do it on the podcast. I don't know. Well, I'll play test anyway, but my normal talking head type videos that are, the educational type videos that I do, I might have a bit of quiet music playing in the background of there just to play test it. I'll probably keep the music that I use at the very end though, and I'd like your guys' insight into that in particular, but anything, all right? So what do you think about the music I include on the end with my end screens? Should I keep music? Should I not? Should I change the music? Do you like it being the same? And anything else I've talked about. If you'd like to offer your advice, or or even offer a question, the more discussion the better. It gets me thinking. So I'd really appreciate that. Right. Well, if you watched this far, you're a legend, and I thank you very much. If it resonates with you, please smash that like button and like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out and me out immensely. And yeah, until next time, look after yourself. 2 months in, only 2 months in.